Good evening and welcome to our live first podcast. And we are excited today to be having a conversation with Nawa, who's a chartered accountant and also a very established businessman and entrepreneur. What I love about Amu, he's got a very big heart. Over and above being a businessman, a founder of Siamo Capital, he's also founded an NPO, which is a mentoring program where he's helping university kids to mentor students from high school at a home in SOS, and it's doing great. Its name is Siamo Learning, and he's doing great at it. I love working with Amu. I've worked with him in several projects, and he's just a kind of person you love to work with all the time. Before I carry on with this live podcast, for all the people who've just joined us or the people who'll be joining us, please keep your mic on mute and keep your video hidden, because what we want to see, we want to hear everything from Amu. We'll be asking him some questions, and we'll be having sort of a relaxed conversation about entrepreneurship, which is something very important. As we can see in our country at the moment, the economy is not doing that well. However, I think the economy right now needs people like you and I, who say, I will build this economy. People like you and I who say, I'm going to go down and build a business so that I can employ more people so that this economy can flourish. But I'm not going to talk a lot today. We've got Amogelang Nawa, who's going to talk to us about entrepreneurship and the spirit of entrepreneurship, the mindset of an entrepreneurship. Over and above all, we're going to be talking about the importance of knowing numbers in your business. Good evening, Mr. Nawa. As I call you every day, how are you feeling today?
I'm all right with you, and thank you for the kind words. And I'd like to welcome everyone. Thank you for the platform.
Excellent. I'm already enjoying this, and I'm already having fun. If you've got a question or if you'd love to chip in, just go to the chats there and just ask a question on our chat line, and or I'll be able to help you, or any of our participants. Maybe we'll have an open line later on to have people asking questions. But we want to keep this as a relaxed conversation where you and I will be talking about entrepreneurship. I love entrepreneurs and I love entrepreneurship. Right, first question. Mr. Nawa, I wrote a couple of questions here, but I don't know where this is going to lead us. We're probably going to end up talking about other stuff. I don't want to follow a script, but just it helps to prepare, I wrote a couple of questions here. The first question I have: what is an entrepreneur? According to your knowledge and according to your experience, what is an entrepreneur? And I'm asking this question very strategically, and I wouldn't want to have a textbook definition on this one, because the textbooks there's lots of textbooks that say what an entrepreneur is, but most of those textbooks sometimes are not written by people who are entrepreneurs, but it's their understanding of what entrepreneur is. But according to your experience and what you've gone through in your life, how you've started a couple of businesses, what do you think is an entrepreneur?
Yes, thank you. So I believe an entrepreneur is an individual who identifies a need or an opportunity and designs a process to make a profit out of it, to create value. I think that is what I can say, simply put.
So you say it's someone who identifies a need and put together I didn't hear that one.
Or an opportunity.
Okay, so in our country at the moment, as we see it, let's say in the global world at the moment, as we see it, for someone who's just starting in his entrepreneurial journey, what obviously I believe in the Chinese saying that says, when there is troubles like this, it poses a lot. it poses a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities available. For someone who hasn't started their entrepreneurial journey, what would you say are the needs that are there? Or what would you say are the opportunities that are there as you see it right now?
Yes, yes. So let's look at our country, right? Any pain that we are experiencing, right? Like you say, presents an opportunity. Looking at South Africa, looking that we have low growth, that there's no employment. When you look at, if I look into the, you said now, but if I look at into fees must fall and what is happening now as well with accommodation, student accommodation, right? There's a high need of student accommodation. If you look at our capital, there's a lot of colleges that are being opened, or I mean, every street of the CBD practically has a college, right? Meaning there's a need for accommodation, right? There's students that need to be accommodated. So I, as an individual, would say, I see there's an influx of people moving from other provinces into Pretoria and to further their studies. And those people cannot go home every day, right? They come from various provinces. They can't travel. They can't travel for so many hours and kilometers, but they need somewhere to put their head down. And I, as an entrepreneur, can look at it from a bricks and mortar point of view, or from a an opportunity of connecting those that have or own flats or accommodation with those that are in need of it. So those are the two examples that I can provide.
Wow, that's excellent. Yeah, that's an excellent example, because especially a need like that will always be available, because there'll always be students. There will always be people moving around, and people will definitely need housing. People will definitely need accommodation. Those are excellent examples, and that's why I love working with you, because you make me see things that I find difficult to see sometimes. Just a quick one. I just want you to take us through a journey. When did you realize that you want to be an entrepreneur? At which point did you say, or did you just grow up with that mindset that I'm going to be an entrepreneur?
Sure. It's been a long journey indeed. I was privileged to have a father whom is my grandpa, but I was raised by my grandparents. So my grandpa started business. I mean, I knew him to be involved in businesses ever since I was born, right? And when I'm talking businesses, I'm talking about him manufacturing bricks, right? Him owning cows, right? And so owning, breeding them, and selling them at a profit, right? Selling them to provide for his 10 children, right? One of them being my mom. So looking at how he involved us in taking care of his livestock, taking care of the brick manufacturing. I remember during weekends, because the workers are not there, we are the ones that would deal with clients. We are the ones that would write out the invoice, interact with clients to say, okay, what do you want? You want 100 bricks. We would write out an invoice for them. They'd give us money, would count it, take it to him, and also then drive to the factory. The factory is just it's nearby. It's just next door, right? So our home was just opposite the factory. So we'd drive there and help with loading, right? And also there was a supermarket. I was a shopkeeper, right? counted stock, counted the money, ensured that there was sufficient stock. Me sitting at the store, there were people coming and saying, we need ice, especially during the festive season. It was hard to find stores that sold ice. And I said, here's a need that I can fulfill. The water is free. There was already a machine to close the ice packet. So I said, there's a machine at my disposal. All I had to do was to just buy plastic, the plastic to package, right? The fridge was free, the electricity was free. I didn't have to pay for electricity myself, right? I mean, the fridge had so much space. So I started manufacturing ice and selling it. I sold it. And it was growing. Even whenever I was not at the store, whoever was the shopkeeper would keep on making ice. So that made money for us, right? Other than that,
just a question: how old were you when that happened during that time?
Sure.
How old are you? Just a rough estimate.
A rough estimate. I was about 12.
Wow.
Yeah, 12.
Wow.
Yeah. Before then.
You remind me of a couple of stories. Look, I was raised in a family where pretty much everyone was a professional. Everyone was employed. Or strings of my aunties are nurses. My mom is a nurse. My grandmother was a nurse. My father was a clerk and a supervisor, and a whole lot of other jobs. So I didn't have I didn't grow up with any example that was in front of me that I could say, hey, I want to aspire to be an entrepreneur like that. But deep down in me, I think I had that entrepreneurial spirit. I remember, I don't know if you remember, there were those lucky packets that we used to buy sweets, and sometimes if you're like, you get a toy that you love. Sometimes you get a stupid yellow ring. But in any case, what I would do is collect money from my peers, put money together, and then I would go to the shop, buy the lucky packet, and hope I get a soldier or a Superman or whatever, those type of toys. And I would buy a candle. After buying a candle, I would also, I don't know where we got a white cloth, a big white cloth. So we pieced this big, my friend and I would piece this big white cloth, right? And we would get the children inside, some of our peers inside the pitch tent, so to call it, and would go behind it. And I'd be telling a story with a candle, and it would be sort of like a movie. I think I was about 10 years old. Fast forward to what we call bioscope, and I made some money from it. Someone who was jealous came and just kicked it and bent it. But in any case, later on, I think 2 years later, I was the only kid, or if there wasn't another one, could have been maybe 2 kids in the whole street who had a bicycle. And you know, so you can only ride so much bicycle at home. But all these kids that didn't have bicycles, they would always come to you. Hey, can I ride? Then I realized, hey, there's a need here. And I said, okay, fine. 5 cents, 10 cents a ride. You go right there, come back. And I would make good money. And sometimes I'd have help the family at home with that money. My dad didn't like it that much because then my bicycle belonged to the whole street. But the other day I heard Jim Rohn say, I teach kids to have 2 bicycles. 1 bicycle for himself and 1 bicycle to hire out. And it just reminded me of myself. And you can see that an entrepreneurial spirit, sometimes you can see it from a young age. But tell me here, what is your belief? Is that to be an entrepreneur, should you be born to be an entrepreneur, or is it a learned skill, or is everyone born an entrepreneur, or it takes a special kind of people to be entrepreneurs? Just give me your beliefs on that one. Just before you tell me that, can you please just stand up and just switch on the light there so that we can get some light? Much better, much better.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
tell
you.
me, I don't know if you want me to repeat the question, or are you gonna?
No, I got it. You
Yeah.
asked whether entrepreneurs are born or it's something that one can learn along the way. Yes. So, well, I believe there are some that are born. There are some that think differently from the onset, right? But also the way we are socialized, how we have grown up, our exposure also influences our decisions later on in life, right? And I believe with me that is something that I said, oh, this is something that my parents, my grandpa exposed me to. That's why I ended up pursuing entrepreneurship, and that's why I'm an entrepreneur today. Yes.
Wow, that's that. So you believe that there are people who are born with that natural skill, or let's not call it a skill, the natural ability to be entrepreneurs, and there are those people that would have to learn to be an entrepreneurs. But at the same time, it depends on which community you were raised in, or who were you raised by. Or are the people that when you were growing up you would look up to and aspire to be like, who were entrepreneurs, and sort of you model yourself towards those people? Am I understanding you right?
Uh, that's correct.
Wow, that's
Mm.
let's say that you meet a guy, let's say, who's just come out of school, and he's just come out of, let's say, matric or standard 10 or grade 12, which is in South Africa our last year of high school. You meet this guy, and he hasn't decided if he wants to go to university or college, and he
Yeah.
feels maybe he might want to be an entrepreneur, but that guy has never met someone, or he was never socialized in that way, like
Yeah.
socialized around entrepreneurs. What kind of
Yeah.
advice would you give such a person?
Hmm. So you said they think that they can go or venture into entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah, maybe, or sometimes they haven't decided,
Yeah.
but they might even be thinking like that.
Yeah. So my first recommendation, and this is very important. Uh, we need I need to, or that person needs to spend time discovering themselves, asking the pertinent question, who am I? Right? Uh, and a lot will flow from that, right? Who am I? What do I want in life? I think if you have those two questions answered clearly, you will know whether entrepreneurship is for you or not, right? And I mean, the process of becoming an entrepreneur, there's no stage where one says, I know it all, right? We develop as we go, right? It's that particular person say they say, yeah, I want to become an entrepreneur. That particular person will have to learn certain behavior, right? Along the way, they will have to experiment. They will have to be open uh, to the behaviors that, or the characters that are pertinent for every entrepreneur to have, for the skills that every entrepreneur needs to have. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Wow. So where would they find such skills? Let's say they're looking for those skills, and let's say they decide, look, yeah, I want to be an entrepreneur. I can see Amu is making it out there as an entrepreneur, and he's living a good life. Yes, I want to be an entrepreneur. Where would they go for those skills? How would they get those skills? Or let me put it, let me rephrase my question. Would they need to have a certain type of mindset to really even think about getting into that venture? And if they need a certain mindset, where would they get that kind of mindset?
Sure. Okay. So the last one is a bit difficult. Yes, a certain mindset is required, but a mindset is not developed in one day, right? A mindset is a process. It's me saying, I know I need to do this, and adapting to it over time. I might have some fallbacks and have to, falling down and then having to come back again because of the behaviors that I've grown up with, what I have been, how I've been socialized, right? So maybe it might be worth it to talk about what is this mindset, right? To me, okay, just to start off with, to me, a mindset means certain attitudes, right, that one must possess, right?
Wow.
And for one to become an entrepreneur, right, it means, I'm going to talk about three things. Firstly, the first one is that you need to be a risk taker, right? Risks, me talking about a risk, I'm referring to uncertainty, right? When I'm talking, people are afraid of the unknown, right? I, as an entrepreneur, need to be able to, when people are drawing the one side, I go the other, which is the unknown, right? I need to have the audacity to actually go for the unknown, right? Hence, they say an entrepreneur is a risk taker, because it means you need to venture into the unknown. You need to venture into the unknown to discover a solution, right? To come up with something new, to come up with a process that is efficient, right, for the challenge at hand, right? Secondly, for me, an entrepreneur needs to, they need to believe in themselves. They need to believe that they can do it, right? They need to believe in their solution, right? But it's not only believe, but they need to act, right?
Yeah.
When I believe in something, when I have conviction, I should not end it there. It's important that I actually push and do something about it, right? And thirdly, when I call myself an entrepreneur, I need to be able to identify efficiencies, right? What do I mean by that? I mean doing things in a cheaper, faster, and convenient way, right? I need to constantly be looking out for how can I do this better, right? I may have started a business that is making me money, but I don't stop there. I need to continuously improve on my processes, right? There's technology that's being introduced. There's talk of the fourth industrial revolution. I need to keep up to date with the latest information or solutions that are out there, because that may influence my business. I may be able to deliver something in a cost-effective, faster, and efficient manner that will result in my business being sustainable and profitable, right? So those are the three, if I may call it, characteristics or mindset, the mindset of the entrepreneur that we're talking about, right? To go back to your question about, okay, where do you find these skills, right? I believe that one finding a mentor
Mm.
will come very valuable in that journey of entrepreneurship. Finding someone that you say, I believe I can learn from, I look up to them, right? So that when you are in doubt, you are able to consult. When you want to go back, you get a second opinion, right? Somebody to hold you accountable.
Wow, you've touched on something that's very close to my heart. As I said, I grew up in a household or in a community where uh, really I was never taught I was never taught entrepreneurship, and I didn't know much about entrepreneurship. And I happened to get married in an entrepreneurial family. My wife's
Yes.
families and household, they are all entrepreneurs. Like my father-in-law is an entrepreneur. My mother-in-law is an entrepreneur. I didn't understand the way they were doing things and the way but they did things. And obviously, I came from a different background. And eventually, when I got to be with my wife, I slowly got excited about this entrepreneurial journey. And eventually, I started a couple of businesses, and some of them were good, some of them didn't make it. And you've touched on something very important there when you say find a mentor, because most of the time I would do things out of reading a book, which is something very important. And we learn a lot from books, we learn a lot from seminars, we learn a lot. But you still need someone that will hold you accountable, walk with you the journey. When you're alone, know how to take you up, and when you are on your high, remind you to remain grounded. And that's what we do at Mentor Finder. We help people who need mentors, people who need that person that will hold them by the hand to get mentors. So if you're excited about, or if you'd love to have a mentor in your business, in your career, in your journey, talk to us. Drop us an email. We'll leave our email addresses. Drop us give us a call, and then we'll be able to help you get a mentor. And you said something very important there when you said an attitude. It takes a certain attitude. You don't even want to call it a mindset, but it's an attitude. And tell me, I know you've had a job before, right? And you've been employed. Those attitude, how important are they for someone who is still employed? Is an advantage for someone to have that kind of mindset when they're employed? And what sort of advantages do those people have, if there are any?
I'm not sure if I understand the question, but are you saying, is it an advantage if I'm an employee, but I am entrepreneurially inclined? Is that the question?
Yes, you've put it right. That person has got a mindset of an entrepreneur. He's got those attitudes and attributes that you were talking about. But he, at the moment, sometimes I call those people, they are a moth or the butterfly that's still in a cocoon. Eventually he will fly out, but at the moment he's still cocooned in an entrepreneurial space. In a employee space.
For me, this, if you look at people that are doing well in their jobs, right? It's people that actually display entrepreneurial skills. It's people that show leadership. It's people that, for you to become a senior manager or whatever title, or nowadays they call them the C-suite, the chief executives. It's because you are displaying outstanding traits, outstanding leadership traits, right? Where you are showing that you can manage resources, right? Businesses, companies are looking for people who are entrepreneurs to run their units, right? companies are saying that here's your budget, you need to run with it, make money for this business, right? And because of that, for me, whether a person is in employ or they are an entrepreneur who is out hustling, as they say, for me, I say you can still be an entrepreneur while you are in employ, right? There are people that are doing amazing things, right, while they are in employ.
Wow, that's a great one. So as a person, let's say a person, let's call him Sipo at the moment. Sipo is working at a company, maybe it's a call center or anything, but Sipo is fond of these type of nuts or type of snacks, and he brings those nuts to work. Then he starts maybe sharing with a couple of friends. A couple of friends say, "Hey, I like those nuts. Where do you buy them from?" "No, I can bring them for you." Then maybe he starts bringing it for them. And eventually Sipo sees an opportunity. It's like, okay, I can sell this to these people. Would you call that person an entrepreneur? And then he starts maybe stocking it and selling to his, Would you call that person an entrepreneur?
That person has just identified an opportunity.
Exactly.
And they capitalized on it. So definitely, I would say they are entrepreneurs.
I know you are an accountant and a very established accountant, a chartered accountant for that matter.
Yes.
Did your experience as a chartered accountant, how is it helping you right now as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, looking at what we did in varsity and perhaps even the board exams, but I think the second board exam is more practical. But looking at academics, I think one thing that I told myself and even believe in is that, what we went through was just to test whether can we deal with complexity, right? More than anything, right? Otherwise, we've done a lot of, if you look at accounting, it has a lot of standards, right? There's deferred tax, there's mergers and acquisitions. Me sitting here and you asking me about those standards, I'll probably not be able to answer you. But should I have to deal with a merger and acquisition, I have the skill to go through the standard, interpret it, and apply it to add value, right? So that is my belief of education. It's just it's testing whether you can deal with complexity. There's right now I'm applying the very basics. With the master classes that I host, with preparing financial statements and filing tax returns for entrepreneurs or for businesses, I'm applying the very, very basics, right? Which, yes, I've learned theoretically, but also theoretically it wasn't the same as practically, right? I know how to do a tax calculation, but then when you get out there, you need to know, first of all, that, okay, I need to register for e-filing. After I register for e-filing, I must request a tax return and then prepare financials, complete it, right? Complete the tax return and then file it, right? There's certain processes that you'll only be aware of. Although an effort is being made to close the gap between theory and practice. But you asked my experience, right? So it's for me, it's still I'm really using the very basics of, but I have a better understanding of those basics, right? Yes, every now and then you'll find a client where you need to do a deferred tax calculation, something that you have done maybe only theoretically, right? Or maybe while doing articles, because while you are training as as a chartered accountant, it is required that you are exposed to certain competencies or skills practically. You do find every now and then something that where you have to now really sit down and go back to your theory and say, oh, this is how things were done. But yeah, to sum up my answer to my response to that is, I believe education just tested the ability of one to deal with complexity.
Yeah, just a quick question, just a follow-up question on that one, but briefly, because I just want you to also touch on your master classes that you're doing. But in less than a minute, tell us. I'm from an engineering background, and the only numbers that I know it's mathematics, and we did a bit of calculation in science. But obviously, I've got that drive of being an entrepreneur. How important is it for me to understand at least the basics that you say you are dealing with when it comes to running a business?
Yes. So one of the top 5 reasons businesses fail is financial management, right? There's been lots and lots of research, right? Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, University of Stellenbosch. There's a lot of entrepreneurship research, and they come out to financial management being one of the top 5 reasons why businesses fail.
Are you still there? Are you still there?
The whole story of your business from the beginning until the end. Becky?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, yes. So the numbers tell they are the fiber of your business. I, as an entrepreneur, need to understand my financials. I need to, they need to guide my decision making, right? I cannot manage my business based on just instinct.
Wow, that's a good one. I'd love us to talk more about it, but are we running out of time? Just quickly, please tell us about your upcoming masterclass, which I believe will be taking place in January, and I'm looking forward to it. Briefly tell us about it and why does one needs to go there? Because other people will be like, hey, I did accounting in school. Why do I need to go to this masterclass? Tell us what it is, what will you be dealing with, and why do I need to go there? And please give us the date and the times.
All right. So firstly, I'd like to say that, Becky, I believe in a world where entrepreneurs are independent and run successful and sustainable businesses, right? So that is what we are doing with these master classes. There's a master class called Becoming Funding Ready. It's on the 25th of January, 2020. This master class will be looking at, are you funding ready, right? What are the critical things that you need to have in place for you to say, I am funding ready, right? What will ensure that when you go out there, that you will not you will not get your funding application declined, right? So also, there's many entrepreneurs that think they need funding while they might not. While a challenge might be in the other area, right? So we will be having a guest speaker. We will also be, I mean, the master classes are practical, right? So there will be funding pitches, right, in front of an expert. The audience, people who will be attending the seminar, will be pitching their business and getting feedback on that. So it's on the 25th of January. The start time will be 9 a.m.
Okay, that's great. Just a quick one as we're about to wrap up. If people want to get in touch with you, people want to know more about Amogelana, people want to know more about these masterclasses, or people that want to know more about Siamo Capital, where would they get you? Give us your social networks handle and give us your email address. And if you're comfortable, you can give us your telephone number where people can get a hold of you.
All right. So my email address is amo@tiamocapital.co.za. amo@tiamocapital.co.za. Cell phone numbers 076 5724 606. I am on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, right? On Facebook, you can search Siamo Capital or Growth Accelerator Masterclasses.
Okay, just for the benefit of all the listeners, can you please repeat all those contact details?
Yes. So the email is amo@tiamocapital.co.za. amo@tiamocapital.co.za. Numbers 076 5724 606. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Growth Accelerator Masterclasses. That's what you should search for.
Excellent. I really appreciate the conversation we've had today. And I hope we'll be having more of these conversations where entrepreneurs can learn from other entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs can learn from some of the established entrepreneurs like you, and people who've got a heart to go out there and say, hey, as an entrepreneurial community, let's help each other. Let me help you. I really appreciated your time that you spent with us here today. Just a last thought for our entrepreneurs out there that are listening.
Yes.
Just give us one last.
I'm looking forward to having various entrepreneurs in our seminars, and also most importantly, I believe that there is something that I can learn from each and every entrepreneur, right? So the platform is for us to share our experiences, right? There is no monopoly in knowledge. I will be learning a lot from them, and I so wish that many of them come to share their experiences, because there's power in our experiences.
Wow, that's great. I've learned a lot in this last 45 minutes, and I hope you as a listener has also learned a lot. And please keep coming back to this podcast to learn more about what we do, to learn more about the entrepreneurial world out there. I'll be getting other guests to join our podcast, and I hope you still keep coming to this podcast. I'm still struggling to give it a name, but at this moment, let's call it a Mentor Finder podcast. Let's call it a Siamo Capital podcast. hope you as a listener one day you'll just have a string of inspiration and just give it to us and say, hey, you can call this podcast by this name. Hope you enjoyed and hope you've learned a lot, and I really hope you've you've considered getting that entrepreneurial mindset. Over and above all, I hope you'll be joining Amo and I on the 5th, you say? 25th of January for the masterclass that he'll be running. The masterclass is getting yourself funding ready. We're looking forward to see you soon. Keep your eyes on our Facebook page, on my Twitter page, which is at Begisisa Ngomane. Keep your eye on my Facebook page at Mentor Finder, and keep your eyes on my Facebook page, Begisisa Ngomane, where I'll be posting when's the next podcast. Other than that, I'm looking forward to meet you very soon and to your growth. Cheers, Amu. Cheers, everyone.
Empower yourself, grow your business. Thank you, Becky.
Great. It was great having you here.
Okay, bye.
Bye.